that's what what you can also call a state of bliss, being
Yes, yeah.
where you can look at the clouds, on the trees, and you get this feeling, right, of everything alive,
Alive and one.
alive in one. Yeah.
Without distinction, without calling it anything.
Yeah. Have you ever had that experience?
I've had that experience.
And how long were you able to retain?
Yeah, very short. Like, I think forgetfulness becomes our like biggest enemy. Mine at least.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you kind of fall back into states of like material calculations. Like for me, like I have these plunges into like hedonism every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
So you're overthinking it, Narjas. All you need to do is take the deepest breath of the day and do an Om, and then you can get right back into the creative vibration.
Have you ever tried to document for yourself what made you get into that state? Like, have you?
Or desire.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing. Everything begins with some sort of, I think, intent and desire. The need to want to know.
Yeah. Well, all these, religious exercises that have been given, across, be it Islam, Christianity, or Hinduism, there's always a state where you are supposed to disconnect from the world and pray. And you need to make a repetition out of it. So there must be something to it, right? To that repetition.
Yes, you're just disconnecting from need. The more need for something, the more attachment to that thing. Like you give your body less of food. This is why like yogis and most gurus would like meditate in caves within the foothills of the Himalayas and stuff. Because you're not just disconnected from the world, you're also like sort of disconnecting from need of sensory perception. Can't imagine a world without that.
I think the whole thing can be boiled down to property taxes, because in other parts of the world, you can use your house as like your permanent meditation and hermit, kingdom. But in the West, you're forced to constantly be in movement your whole life to constantly just be able to afford your property taxes. So we have like a legal categorization on the planet. Different parts of the world are operating legally different, and that impacts our behavior.
Yeah, but a lot of it. Okay, let me just put it differently. How much of it?
Hold on. Let me.
Go on, Eric.
A sentence that doesn't even pay property tax. So, Mr. Universe, when your children are young, right? You want to live in an area in which the taxes are good. They might be a little high, because guess what? Your children are going to be sucking up those resources. But when your children are gone and in school, there's absolutely no reason for you to stay in such a high tax area. And you see, if you're just not smart enough or witty enough to know that life goes through these cycles, right? And maybe your father didn't teach you, or your uncle, or your brother. I don't know who the fuck taught you, but they taught you wrong. You have it all wrong. It's not about paying the tax. It's about paying the tax at the right time. Because we're all going to pay tax. Okay? Someone like you who's single, doesn't have children, yeah, I'd be pissed about paying a high tax, because you're not getting the resources. You're not sucking them up. I'm putting 4 kids through school. Oh yeah, I'm going to pay high tax. Do you know how much it would be to send them to private school? Do you even have an idea? So yeah, I'm gonna live in a better area with private schools. And then when me and my wife get old, my kids graduate from high school, we're already making our way out. We're making our great escape. Does that make sense? think the last year or so, you should be paying more because your last child is doing it, depending on how far apart they are from one another. Are you going down? Are you going down? No.
Well, in response to what you're saying, I looked up the.
I don't know why you even brought that up. I don't even know why you brought that up.
Well, I looked up the tax brackets in Muslim countries, and it goes as high as 9%. Like they barely have taxation in Dubai and all these Muslim countries. They don't tax the way we tax here. And I'm just saying that actually prevents many people from spending time on philosophy and anyways, it's just the West versus the East, and I'm just saying I think you can break it down categorically by law and taxation, because obviously
They don't
there's
have to tax in countries like that. They have so much money.
no, but they do tax. It's in Islamic law. I'm just saying Islamic law.
I understand, but they don't have to. But they're not really taxing for the operations of the government, right? Like, there's so much money.
Yeah, I know, but what do they do with it? They let it sit in Wall Street investment banks. That's what the Saudis do. I mean, that's why they're so goddamn integrated and powerful and so influential with the United States and our operations. And anyways, I was just merely commenting that because
I think they can afford to bomb each other too. I think that's the other great thing.
that's true. But I don't like the thought that like people are obsessive compulsive over, oh my God, I gotta find out how I can figure out God is real. How can I prove God is real? And then spend years like engaged in religious debate, religious research, reading books. Like to me, that's kind of a neurotic, schizo way of education. And I feel like there were parts of my life where I was like all consumed with trying to discover some kind of secret that other people weren't hip to. But I like what Alan Watts says, that the meaning of life is not it's not a riddle to solve, it's an experience to enjoy, basically. So that's kind of the way I look at life now, is even Clubhouse is an experience and a happening. And I want I record everything because so much of it is so frivolous, and as somebody called me, pedestrian. So there's just like this frivolity and ludicrousness of people coming on a conference call every day to play a game, in the way that there's so many varieties that people play this game. So it's an interesting like observational piece, but also the words that people are using from an observational perspective, if you're like contrary to their position, is interesting. You could just Google like top Democrat buzzwords of 2026, and like that's very insightful to see how people on the left are using specific terms to have communications, or vice versa. Republicans on the right, or Muslims, or evangelical Christians, or So, anyways, hello.
Got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so like I'd like to know what is the reliable information regarding Jesus and before his crucifixion? Like in Islam, they say that he substituted. Sometimes it says he swooned. So how do I know which one is right?
Which one do you think is right?
So in Christian narratives, they say that like the apostles, they died for believing that Jesus Christ died and resurrected. I'm starting to believe that. I'm having doubts in Islam. So I like to know, like, because Islam says that he was substituted and that he didn't die on the cross. But some people say that he went on the cross, but he didn't die. He survived the cross incident. How do I like resolve this?
This may not be.
That was written before the Quran, and where they got that idea. I can share that with you. I think ultimately the choice is going to be up to you, man. You know, so but I'll share the book with you. Give me one second. Read this. Call.
Hello?
Yeah, so
Hello?
I'll show you a text from the first and second century, right? Which that might, gear you in either direction, which is up to you. They were grouped, called the Valentinians or the Marcians. Valentinian is going to be more, you probably find more information with that. So if you go to that book, 479 is the page. 479. I'll even put it in the chat.
Yeah, can you please put it in the chat?
Put it in the chat, and the page is 479. And these are the people who thought he wasn't, like he didn't have a human body. He was just spirit. It was just pure spirit. No, he couldn't die on the cross because he wasn't a man. And this was their view. Yeah, this was their view.
Is that the right view?
You know what? I don't think it is because he was a real person. Like, so now you asked me about my personal stuff. So, he was a real person. He had a ministry. He had a real life. The reason why I don't believe in that one is because they made the Old Testament God the demiurge. Like, they made him the evil God that could never know who the real God is because he was only the God of this universe. But there was a higher God. So it's a multiple God theory. It's a hierarchy. And plus, when they took Paul's letters or they took stuff from the Old Testament, they kind of changed. They kind of just picked and choose what they wanted in the text and let it comes out. So I wouldn't, that's the reason why I wouldn't believe in that one.
Where do I get more information about the truth? Like, is there like
That's on you, bro. That's on you. I can only push you in the right direction. So I'm telling you, I'm going to be very biased. I'm a Catholic. So I'm going to believe, he's sent from the Father and all that good stuff.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you, bro. There's plenty of information out there.
Clubhouse has definitely proven that reading comprehension is a major problem, and actually spending time to read for consistently day to day, an hour a day, it's like it doesn't happen. And what's interesting also is when you listen to people actually try to read on this app, it's very difficult for people to read, and you're like, wow, I thought this person would be able to read at a much higher rate, but they're actually very slow and they can't pronunciate a lot of words and they struggle. So, there are nonprofits that help people actually practice reading, and it's not necessarily intuitive because we're just so technologically consumed with all that content that to actually help people relax and sit down and read, like, that's a great gift for somebody, because like many people are just so quickly running through life that they don't have basically, I guess, like a, what is it, a havruta or something, twin flame to like consistently read, because that experience of reading it, especially if you read it out loud, is a very unique experience, unlike any other experience, and it's actually what people here in this room particularly are most interested in. So it to me it's actually like a mystical experience reading some of these books, you know, even the Bible, obviously. So hello.
Hello? Yeah, I mean, if you keep searching for those answers, you're gonna get them. And you know, either way, you know, you're making the best decision for you, brother. You know, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think you'll be all right. Now, a lot of people like the rituals about religion. You know, the prayer, supplications, these types of things. Now, people really like those types of things. So, like, if you're happy in Islam doing those types of things, I would just tell you to keep doing that. So you can figure it out.
What's some of the nonprofit organizations that help you read Universe? Can you
Just go on Google and you could maybe try to find something local. I used to work with one in Manhattan Beach, California. It's just like, I can't remember the name of it, but you could just Google like local reading workshops, local book club. One way to do it yourself without the club is to just come here on Clubhouse and use the Clubhouse as like a reading room to record yourself reading and to record other people reading. And you can, you know, try to coordinate and get the same book so you can follow along. You can also record yourself using another cell phone or your current cell phone reading a book just using the recorder function, or you can use YouTube to or use your camera and record yourself reading and then upload the video and then listen to the playback. That's how I do it. It really reinforces the comprehension if you can hear yourself reading complicated material, because then you start piecing together all the concepts and it becomes like a large language model for you.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
The Pritzker team is running on a message of raising wages and lowering costs.
Beyond this, I'll see you guys later.
You know what? How about lifting all ships? Right? They talk about, you know, we're going to make it more affordable. J.B. Pritzker's
My wife made some slamming meatballs last night.
Well, how'd you eat them? You make a sandwich or just pasta?
No, it's pasta.
I was looking up yesterday the Constitution of Islam. Have you ever read the Medina Constitution by Muhammad?
No.
So I looked at it. There's I think 47 amendments to it. A lot of it deals with blood money. A lot of it deals with like political organizing and making different tribes responsible for their prisoners, for their hostages, for paying the blood money. A lot of it is allowing Jews to operate underneath the authority of Muhammad, and then also calling themselves out as a new separate political entity throughout the world, independent of all other political organizations, and they call themselves the Ummah. But from the perspective of the Jews living in the area who are involved in many of these declarations, it's incredibly odious, obnoxious, ridiculous. I mean, it's as if somebody in your own neighborhood said, "You now work for me," and it's basically gangsterism, mafiaism, and criminality and tribalism and gangsterism. I mean, it's gangs, and it's right there in the Medina Constitution. If you read it, it's 47 amendments, and I was reading it yesterday on Wikipedia. I was like, oh my God, I've never heard anybody talk about this, because I was reading Winston Churchill quotes about Mohammedan law and how ridiculous it is and destructive it is and how harmful it is to women because it makes them literally chattel property. And Winston Churchill's quotes on Islam are really interesting. But that led me to realize there's got to be an Islamic constitution. Like, it has Mohammedan law. So what is Mohammedan law? And then, you can get into the Sharia aspect. But the problem with a lot of religious Muslims on this app, etc., other places, is that they're not willing to discuss Mohammedan law as opposed to the Sharia religious Ummah perspective. They are incapable of basically stop being religiously extremists and get to the law on the ground in the courts and all that stuff. So I just thought it was really interesting, and I bought a bunch of books on Muhammad and Islamic history. I'm looking at one right now called The Many Faces of Political Islam. It's just a really interesting topic because historically, the Christians and the Muslims with the two caliphates and the invasion of Europe, there is this major conflict between European Western Christendom and political Islam in its multivariate form, because it's different throughout all the countries. So it's just a really interesting topic and debate. Especially, a lot of these people are just learning English for the first time, and they can't express a lot of the, I'm sure, concepts in English. I am complete.
Here it goes. Constitution of Medina. Thank you for the new topic. Sometimes we need somebody else bringing up topics. This is a good one. This looks like a rabbit hole. You know what? I haven't punched it in my chat yet. But let me tell you something. Once I do,
I was debating Mikhail on it for like an hour yesterday. He kicked me to the goo 5 times, then eventually kicked me out of the room because it makes all or nothing claims. From a debater's perspective, to me, it's like the holy grail of debating Islam, because the Constitution of Medina makes such outlandish, ridiculous assertions and legal proclamations that and I used Grok to do a literary and a historical analysis and comparison between Western judicial progression and Islamic law, or the Mohammedan law. So it's really interesting how they contrast. And from a Western perspective, Islam is intolerable because it's, anyways, I don't want to say it's psychotic, but it is. It's an in group that declares all out groups under its control. It's basically it's mafia gangsterism, and it's tribalism at its worst. So that's what the Constitution of Medina. That's why you can use it to debate in such a way that spiritual, religious Muslims can't win that debate, because they're living in 2026, not 700. And when you update them to the year in which we're living and the progress of judicial and legal Western progression from Magna Carta to the Constitution, etc., these documents make the Constitution of Medina look so ludicrous and low IQ that it's shameful that people can actually agree with what it's saying, especially with regards to the treatment of Jews. That in itself is so despicable that Islam, in my opinion, needs a constitutional convention. And the Constitution of Medina is where it has to start. Muslims around the world have to come together and update the Constitution of Medina. I am complete.
I'm sorry, I wish that was the case, but where Allah speaks is eternal, it's forever. So, yeah, good luck.
I mean, it's just a talking point, but I'm just saying that, like, debating the Constitution of Medina with Muslims is a very interesting way to engage with Muslims, because now we take them off the ledge and bring them back into the courtroom, and we say, hey, these are your amendments and your proclamations. Let's go over them one by one and try to find out whether or not we think it's okay in 2026. Hello?
No, but you see, hello, what you're doing is you're letting the cat out of the bag. We shouldn't be telling them these things because we want them involved in them, and then they figure it out when it's too late. So I don't understand why you want to tell them these things. Let them back this shit up. Why educate them? Why keep universe? Why do I have to keep educating Muslims on their own doctrine? Is it my response? Is this my calling?
No, but
Am I the Muslim whisperer?
I'm just saying that Clubhouse you should try to treat it like a courtroom, because there are people on this app that come on here and make death threats regularly, and I've told those people they're out of compliance, and I say you can't come on this app and use it as a place to make death threats. That's out of compliance, and you're in the wrong. And as you've heard, many Muslims on this app just regularly make death threats. So what I'm just trying to say is that, like, you're the judge. We are either, the plaintiff or the defendant, and we're here to engage in a professional legal correspondence communication in a court. It's your creation, it's your experiment, but I'm not trying to educate. I'm trying to bring up a topic that no one brings up, the Constitution of Medina.
It's gonna be to the point where this is such an interesting topic that they're not gonna know about it, because they'd rather hide and ask me what's a contradiction that God and man can be a God and a man at the same time. That's more important than knowing about the Constitution of Medina. Did you hear the conversation I had with this guy? His name was Dodo. I literally explained to him the who and the what and how he see God. What's the first question he asks me? This same thing that I just said to him. They have no respect for nothing. They have no respect for other humans. They only want to hear out.
Yeah.
Because Yes, but they don't have conversations.
See, well, you see Rabbi down there, you know, he is basically pulling the same shtick that that Jordanian schmuck in Toronto, who also went by Rabbi McDickerson. See, these Christians that come out of the Middle East that have lived amongst the all or nothing Muslims that claim that they are their bosses, I think it all originates in this Medina Constitution, where today you have all these Orthodox Christians living amongst Muslims, and you know what the percentage of approval rating is from Christian to the Muslim? It's like less than 10%. They hate. Talk to any Christian that comes out of the Middle East, and they literally hate the fucking Muslims. They hate them. They hate their attitude. They hate their legal correspondence. All of it. Like their attitude sucks, and it's all, in my opinion, it's all because of this Medina Constitution.
Oh, so you're saying that it resonates, even if they don't know about it, it still resonates within that thing. Okay, I see what you're saying. Well, why don't you read me one or two of them? Is that possible? I mean, what are the most? Let's
Yeah, sure.
start with charity, and then we'll get worse and worse. I guess. I mean.
It's also a historical document. It's not like a religious, esoteric teaching of Muhammad. It is a legal, historical document. And it's like, I mean, it's not legislated. It's a proclamation. It's not like a debate. It's not an election. It's gangsterism. It's mafiaism. It's tribalism at its worst. And what I'm saying is many of the Muslims today that the Christians hate, those Muslims don't even know about it, but they still are acting subconsciously through progression as if they are the Ummah, and everybody outside of it, you know, is subjected to their political organization. It's not just religious, it's political science and political organizing, and it's right there in this historical document. It's a very important Islamic historical document, and every major religion has their set of laws, and Mohammedan law, this is the first example of Mohammedan law. And I've run it through Grok, I've run it through ChatGPT. There's a tremendous amount of information on it in terms of like groundbreaking political science. But it's not groundbreaking. It's fucking oppressive. It's fascist. It's not socialist. It's oppressive gangsterism. And it makes Muhammad the final arbitrator on everything. If you can't solve, it says in, I can't remember which one, but it says if you have a conflict, you have to go to God or Muhammad with your conflict. They are the judicial branch. Muhammad is the executive branch, and Muhammad is, you know, the congressional or legislative branch. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's so perfidious or so odious because it takes our three branches of government that we believe, you know, has checks and balances and makes it an all or nothing fascist, messianic, occult, gangster, tribalist, you know, type of setting. Hello?
Oh, yeah. Since thing stagnant, since it's just old. Are you saying it's just an outdated system, or like, you know, what is it? Is it outdated?
Yeah, it didn't update. And what I'm saying is the experiments in the West with jurisprudence, Magna Carta, and individual liberties and freedoms, that's the update of mankind. But Islam is still living from this, you know, the 622 Medina charter. It's the Charter of Medina or the Constitution of Medina. They're still living off of rules and laws from 622. They don't update. And so you know what? Fuck them. Fuck them real good. They're cocksuckers. Fuck them all.
We get rid of the document at the same time that we're just saying for us regular people, it's not really beneficial.
I mean, I guess if you want to, yeah, sure. Why not? I would be more focused on seeing if the United States can help update this system in Medina. I think with our influence, we could show them the proper, you know, because I mean, we did a great job with the oil. That I'm thinking that if we just show them the same way with the government, I mean, we wouldn't have these problems in the future. I mean, look how well of a job we did with Israel. I mean, look at their government; it's so liberal and progressive, and I mean, look at Germany. Look at what's the other one? Japan. You know.
Okay, so
The thing about Israel is it raises the gay flag more than it picks up the Torah nowadays.
Okay, so listen, these are some key features and principles of the Charter of Medina. It's the creation of the Ummah, and then they claim religious freedom. See, this is like the woke version of it, in my opinion. It says the document is divided into 63 clauses explicitly allowing Jews and other non-Muslims to practice their own religion, which we know is a fucking lie, because the next one asserts collective defense. It says all parties are required to share in the expense of Muhammad's wars and mutually defend Medina against external threats. So it forces, compulsory. It basically it enslaves Jews. Either you will join us in our war or we will fucking kill you. And we don't care if you practice your little fake religion at home. It's so ridiculous. Caleb, do you know about the Charter of Medina, the Constitution of Islam?
Wait, it sounds like the Civil War. Sounds like the Civil War to me. I don't know, man. I don't think this is a good argument. They're just gonna throw this back in my face. Like, well, you brought the Africans here, then you made them fight, and then you made them build the country. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna say the same thing about us. The one thing we can say is they're not second-class citizens. I mean, sky's the limit. So, I don't know. I guess we could look at the times. The problem is that they're not practicing it. So they don't have a system.
No,
They don't have any research and development.
What I'm saying is right now, if you talk to a Muslim on this app, they are still literally living by the 622 Charter of Medina. And if you want to live with them, you got to pay them their tax, but they're the boss. There's no parliamentary debate. The Ummah and Muhammad and Allah, that's the rules. It's just so unfair. And this Medina Charter shows the way they treat Jews. And I got to read you some other parts of it. I mean, you have to read the text and actually think about it from our perspective and just how ridiculous it is. You could. It's obvious that the Jews that were living there wanted to get the fuck away from this mafia kingpin. It's just gangsterism, and it's right there in the history. The charter is a historical document. Anyways, the way that they break it down.
Let me see if I get some bullet points. Yeah, keep going.
Well, let me just go to the Wikipedia page and read to you what I think are the most controversial clauses of the charter.
Would you be able to tell us about the dancing Israelis by any chance?
I don't know. What's it like being schizophrenic and retarded? Okay.
I don't know. That's you.
Yeah, I know. Projection's a motherfucker when you figure out what it is.
Interesting. How you're not happy with Islam, but at the same time you have this double standard and you won't call out Israel.
So the second amendment in the charter says they shall constitute a separate political unit known as an ummah, distinguished from all the people of the entire world. That to me is the first warning sign, the red flag of an all or nothing statement, which is a cognitive distortion disorder. We all know that parliamentary debate, parliamentary decision making is a collection of intelligence. But the Ummah relies solely on one man. Okay, that would be my first complaint. As we continue on, you go through all the blood money declarations, which basically relieves Muhammad and his Ummah of all liability. this is the second part of the scam, is that he literally defers liability of prisoners and hostages and all reparations to these individual groups like the Banu an Najjar and the Banu Amr ibn Auf. So he's basically naming these groups as captains in his new hierarchy of mafiaism. Now we get to section 12, where it says, and the believer shall not leave anyone hard pressed with debts without affording him some relief, in order that the dealings between the believers be in accordance with the principles of goodness and justice. So calling people believers and non-believers to Muhammad's all or nothing statement that he is the prophet of God is, again, another major red flag. Second part of that is also no believer shall enter into a contract of clientage with one who is already in such a contract with another believer. Meaning that you can't do two deals with two believers, because basically now you're creating a Ponzi scheme. So much of this charter deals with debt resolution, because at that time historically there were tremendous debts between these groups, and everybody's arguing. So Muhammad is trying to act as the judiciary to essentially resolve these major conflicts, and that's what this charter deals with. A believer, this is number 14, a believer will not kill a believer in retaliation for a non-believer, and will not aid a non-believer against a believer. And as Megatron said, basically this sets us up for civil war conflict, because either you're with us or you are against us and you're a non-believer. Number 15, the protection, dhimma, of Allah is one. The least of them, the believers, is entitled to grant protection. Again, protection, this is what the mafia does, or they call it yujr, that is binding for all of them. The believers are each other's allies, mawali, to the exclusion of other people. Again, the believers are each other's allies, known as a mawali, to the exclusion of other people. This is just basically a charter for a mafia organization. I cannot believe people can't just break it down that way and see how, like, the Cosa Nostra and their hierarchy structure, it is the exact same fucking thing. This is number 16. And that those who will follow us among the Jews will have help and equality. Neither shall they be oppressed, nor will any help be given against them. Number 16, that sounds pretty nice. Now, don't forget, Muhammad views these people, they're not going anywhere. He thinks they're a part of the background. And so he's not just going to give up a group of people that can contribute to his ummah. But it's not true equality. Number 17, and the peace of the believers shall be won. If there be any war in the way of God, no believer shall be under any peace with the enemy, apart from other believers, unless this peace be the same and equally binding on all. So again, we go from, we will give Jews equality and we will not oppress them, but they have to join us in our wars. Like, what the fuck? I mean, number 18.
All right, let me push back before we go to 18.
What the fuck?
So, what they're saying here in this post is that it's often described as one of the foundational documents of the first Islamic
They call it the first Islamic State.
Party in Medina.
It's the charter of the first ISIS.
The surviving text is known mainly from early Muslim library sources, especially Ibn Asham and Ibn Ashaq, rather than from an original signed manuscript. Scholars do not agree whether this one single document or collection of several agreements issued over time. The page says most historians accept some form of its authenticity, but there is still debate about the wording, participants, the timing, and how exactly it's functioned. So that's going to be their pushback. Do you understand? Can you handle some of these questions? I mean,
yeah, for sure. Again, you have to look at this as like a constitution or a charter, which is the roadmap for a project. If you've ever worked in project management, which I know you do, and you have to create charters and do all of this planning.
just do scope of work.
Scopes. This is a scope. This is a scope. Anyways.
Yeah, but scopes are short term. They have goals.
Okay, this is number 19. It says, and the believers as a body shall take blood vengeance in the way of God. Number 1, and undoubtedly pious believers are the best and in the rightest course. Number 2, and that no associator, non-Muslim subject, they call non-Muslim subjects non-associators or non-believers, shall give any protection to the life and property of a Qurashiti, nor shall he come in the way of any believer in this manner. See, if you look at the different caliphates and their expansion into Europe, that's why this is such an important document, because it's very simple, and it gives them the legal authority to essentially do what the Ummah does, which is described in this document. It's not like this is some kind of advancement in human theory or political science. This is like, I'm telling you, this is so rudimentary gangish. Like in Chicago, we have the Gangster Disciples. And if you want to join that gang, you have to write the charter on a piece of paper, and it becomes like an incredible piece of artwork. But it's got all the rules of the gang. This is the same fucking thing. Our Constitution.
I don't know, man. Look, you got to see what I'm getting out of this. Preserves identity, but subordinates it. But each tribe keeps its customs. Disputes go upwards of Muhammad. And there's a constitutional inclusion of Jews. The Jews are described as one community with the believers. They keep their religion and they must be loyal to the political order. But they do say religious tolerance doesn't equal authority.
Okay.
They do say that many of these rules
They're
conditional loyalty to Muhammad's system.
Yes.
Jews must be okay with it.
Listen to
Also
number.
participate in defense.
Yes. Listen to number 20.
Yeah.
And if,
Cannot ally with enemies of Muhammad.
listen to number 20. And again, these are supposed innovations in governance. They're not innovations. They're basically duplicitous methodologies to get what Muhammad wanted. This is number 20. And if anyone intentionally murders a believer, and it is proved, he shall be killed in retaliation. If he kills a believer, that guy's going to die. Unless the heir of the murdered person, that means the son or daughter or the husband or wife, be satisfied with blood money. Isn't that kind of like intimidation? You know, like you're going to take the fucking money. There's not going to be no fucking trial. You see what I'm saying? And all believers shall actually stand for this ordinance, and nothing else shall be proper for them to do. That's fucking intimidation money, man. That is so. Number 20 clearly shows you that there's no due process. There's no trial. You don't get social justice when your fucking husband was murdered. The Ummah comes to you and says, "Hey, we're sorry about your loss. Here's the money." Say, "Oh, I don't want the money. I want you to try. I want you to try Abdul over here and kill him for killing my husband." And then they say, "Well, he was a believer. We can't kill a believer, and you guys are not believers." You see what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. It's unfair. There's no trial. Anyways, socially, it sucks, dude. That's fucking gangsterism right there in number 20.
Yeah, I can see issues with this. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna keep reading.
Number 22 says, and that whenever you differ about anything, it could be like, I don't like the color of the button on your shirt, you got to refer to God and Muhammad. Now, Rabbanu Shalom, if you listen to the Jews, Rabbi Tevye said to Rabbi Tuva, hey, you're missing a button on your shirt. And he's like, why didn't you ask Hashem, to get you a new button? He goes, I wouldn't dare go to Hashem, waste his time about my button. He says, go to Hashem with everything. But here in number 22, we learned that if you got an issue, you don't have to just go to God. You can refer it to God but you also have to take it to Muhammad. And now that is really one of the problems with Islam, is that Muhammad has this special judicial dispensation. And this judicial dispensation, again, gives Muhammad the ability to make all or nothing claims in the Ummah, the separate political body from the whole fucking world. So, again, this is in-group, out-group. It's not Gnostic. It's not unity. It's not one God. It's one God, but with one political all or nothing special appropriation. It's really totally unfair to people outside of the Ummah. And thus, it creates perpetual conflict, which you could say is a methodology. And I think in America, with the Republicans and the Democrats, this uniparty system, I think actually it's kind of the same principle, where it's the Tao, basically black and white. We intentionally create a friction and a conflict to basically excel, exceed, to go forward. That it's in some ways part of the recipe. And a lot of people don't like that cooking. They don't like that recipe. Anyways, number 23. And the Jews, this is what I was most surprised about, is that the Constitution of Medina, the Charter of Medina, it's like all about Jews. So it kind of shows you like an inferiority complex, meaning that they know that they're up to no good. These are all the red flags. I was so happy to read this because I was like, man, I could tear this apart in a debate and make a Muslim look like a fucking asshole. This is number 23. And the Jews shall share with the believers the expenses of war, so long as they fight in conjunction. So, could you imagine making this proclamation, going to like an auditorium full of Jews in one of these tribes and being like, listen up, everybody. You guys are going to have to share in the expenses of our war and our conquest. And you have to fight in conjunction with us. If not, well, we got bad news for you guys. You ain't going to like the outcome. Number 24. And the Jews of Banu, shall be considered as one community, Ummat, along with the believers. Again, remember, this is a declaration. The Jews there didn't get a vote. They were told this by their new masters. Again, this is a reframe. This is Muhammad's imposed projection and reframe upon the Jews of Banu.
Sounds like protection to me.
It is. That's why I say it's so much like the mafia. It's protection money, blood money, intimidation money. You know, we killed your husband, so here's a little money. Shut the fuck up. There ain't going to be no trial. For the Jews, the religion, and for the Muslims, theirs. Be one client or patron, but whoever does wrong or commits treachery brings evil only on himself and his household. I kind of like how they follow it up there with, like, even though we might not catch you, we want to warn you. That's what it's really saying. Number 25. And the Jews of Banu an-Najjar shall have the same rights as the Jews of Banu Af. Oh, isn't that nice? They are literally publicly declaring in their charter that the Jews of Banu an-Najjar and the Jews of Banu Af will have the same rights. Isn't that nice of them to declare that they get the same rights? But they don't actually even say equal rights with us in the Ummah. Again, this is all framing. And if you understand political science, and you can also detect the inferiority complex of the individuals who are now trying to essentially reframe the entire dynamic of their environment. And the Jews of Banu Sa'idah shall have the same rights as the Jews of Banu Auf. And the Jews of Banu Jusham shall have the same rights as the Jews of Banu Auf. So all these Jews living in the Saudi Arabian province, in this area, or in Medina and all these surrounding areas, they were issued proclamations saying that they have the same right. Well, they're like, well, no shit. We already fucking knew we had the same rights, and you're taking away our fucking rights. So now you guys can kind of see the reframe of the frame. Number 30, and the Jews of Banu Tha'alba shall have the same rights as the Jews of Banu Auf. But whoever does wrong or commits treachery brings evil only on himself and his household. Remember, that's the warning. Like, don't fuck around or you're going to find out. Number 31, and Japhna, who are the branch of the Thalaba tribe, shall have the same rights as the mother tribes. Man, I can't see if I was Jewish living around these cocksuckers. This would have been my warning. This would have been my red flag when I was like, you guys, we have got to get the fuck out of here. Where are we gonna go? And I'd be like, well, I heard about this place called Europe. Germany sounds nice. They got plumbing? Let's go! That's what I would have been said as soon as I started reading the Charter of Medina. Number 35, subsection 1 of the Charter of Medina. And that none of them shall go out to fight as a soldier of the Muslim army without the permission of Muhammad. Meaning that basically that's what the five families say. You can't whack a capo unless you get the permission of the Godfather. Oh my God. Do you guys see the genius of basically reinterpreting the Charter of Medina as the charter of the Don Corleone crime family? God, these guys were fucking merciless. Number 2, and no obstruction shall be placed in the way of anyone's retaliation for beatings or injuries, and whoever sheds blood brings it upon himself and his own household, except he who has been wronged, and Allah demands the most righteous fulfillment of this treaty. Now that sounds like an all or nothing statement from hell. You could just say that to like anybody in any situation, give nobody any justice, and they just be like, what did he just say? 36 subsection 1, and the Jews shall bear the burden of their expenses, and the Muslims theirs. Again, the Jews shall bear the burden of their expenses, and the Muslims theirs. But you know what? What are the Jews' expenses? Well, it's what we fucking tell them. It's what they're going to pay. Subsection 2, and if anyone fights against the people of this code, they're of the Jews and Muslims, mutual help shall come into operation, and there shall be friendly counsel and sincere behavior between them, and faithfulness, and no breach of covenant. Now that sounds pretty nice, right? However, again, this is a public proclamation declaration. It is political propaganda, meaning when people read this, they were like, oh, well, that sounds very nice that they're going to give some equality.
Well, you keep saying, but you said that like 12 times already to like 12 of them. Like, so like half of them you're saying are nice.
Well, what I'm trying to say is Muhammad has to frame it to make it politically acceptable. If he was to just make this a troll document and shit on them, it wouldn't be nice. But he's trying to essentially conceal his true intentions. That's the essence of all political science, is to basically make people think that, see, he's trying to do a positive dialectic here, but it's not, bro, because you know at the end of the day, the Godfather, he's the shot caller. This is just a way to basically make it seem like he's not the shot caller that he is. Up next, the clients, Maula, shall have the same treatment as the original persons accepting clientage. He shall neither be harmed, nor shall he himself break the covenant. So a lot of this is contractual agreements and trying to define what it means to go into contract with someone. Number 40, and no refuge shall be given to anyone without the permission of the people of the place. The refugee shall have no right of giving refuge to others. Now, this is reminiscent of our own Constitution about housing foreign soldiers without asking permission. Number 41, and that if any murder or quarrel takes place among the people of this code, from which any trouble may be feared, it shall be referred to God and God's messenger, Muhammad. And God will be with him, who will be most particular about what is written in this code and act on it most faithfully. Well, again, this was written during the time of Muhammad. It's not perpetual. It's not like you can go to Muhammad right now in 2026 and get some judicial relief. This was specific to the time and place in which Muhammad was living. He was trying to essentially protect himself and make himself the sole authority. Number 42, the Quraysh shall be given no protection, nor shall they who help them. The Quraysh shall be given no protection, nor shall they who help them. Meaning that Mohammedans will destroy the Quraysh and anyone that helps them. Number 43. And they, Jews and Muslims, shall have each other's help in the event of any force invading Yathrib. So again, this document was not voted on by the Jews. It was told to them by the new Don Corleone, aka Muhammad. Number 44, subsection 1. And if they, the Jews, are invited...
Wait, how do you know that?
How do I know? This is a proclamation.
They didn't have control.
This was a proclamation.
This document.
The Jews had no input into this. They're being told. This is a proclamation by Muhammad.
I think you're looking at this completely wrong.
This is the Charter of Medina by Muhammad, not by the Jews. The Jews are all like, what's this new shit? What's this new document we gotta read? What the fuck is this shit? Holy shit! Let's get the fuck out of here and go to Europe. This is fucking bananas. Who the fuck agreed to this shit?
You know what you need to look up? Because I think you're leaving a big part out of this. Is the Ibn Ishaq and Ibn Asham. The people that say these works of his lifetime. And who actually is on that document to say that they have these, or who's the one who went to go look for them? Because they only know about it because of some German guy that went down there and collected information about it. It's not like they actually have these documents. They don't. We have a copy of a copy of a copy, and then it gets to a German guy, and then he writes about it. I think only a year he did that. And then someone else wrote out after him. And then that was it. And then from there, they take the story to be authentic. It's just really weird. So it's kind of funny how you're coming up with this information. Or how they have this information. Because I'm not exactly sure. Let's take any of these things serious.
Well, I don't think people do take it seriously, and I think that they probably should, because if they knew just how rudimentary and obnoxious their own constitution is to the persecution and prosecution and malevolent treatment of their fellow neighbors, they would realize, you know what? Maybe we weren't so nice to all these people, and we came down kind of hard on them and forced them into our revolution. Because again, the Ummah is its own separate political body. That's the new in group, and everybody else, well, you're part of the fucking out group, and now you got to pay some protection money. And we're sorry if we killed your dad, but here's some fucking money, and you ain't getting no trial. So fuck off. Like, that's the type of attitude that's going on here. Number 44. And if they, the Jews, are invited to any peace, they also shall offer peace, and shall be a party to it. And if they invite the believers to some of such affairs, it shall be their Muslims' duty as well to reciprocate the dealings, excepting that anyone makes a religious war. So they were worried about religious war between themselves. I'm thinking, like, these Jews at this point, like, they had to be on not on the fence. They were on guard, I think, as soon as they saw this charter. Subsection 2. On every group shall rest the responsibility of repulsing the enemy from the place which faces its part of the city. Oh my God, every group. So now they're saying now the Jews got to fight for their part of the city against an invading force trying to destroy the Ummah. Number 45. And the Jews of the tribes of Aus, clients, as well as original members, shall have the same rights as the people of this code, and shall behave sincerely and faithfully towards the latter, not perpetrating any breach of covenant. As one shall sow, so shall he reap, and God is with him who will most sincerely and faithfully carry out the provisions of this code. See, I really love how at the end of it, they always throw out this very like pompous declaration, which is like a flattery to good intentions, but it's really
Can I say
not.
something?
Go ahead.
I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about, but listening to you read something from a book is so much better than what I did for the past 25 minutes, which is maybe 35 or 45, which is listen to concrete rant and drone on monotonously, endlessly, racially charged without making any sense whatsoever. I feel like I am stupider for having listened to that. And listening to you read from a book, I don't care what the book is. Just the fact that you're reading from a book, it just sounds more pleasing to the ear.
Keep going, please. Thank you.
Somebody muted me up, but I'm gonna.
Yeah, but keep going. Keep going.
See, I think when you use Clubhouse and you actually listen, to somebody who's allowed to just free flow their thoughts, you become the coon creep. And that's actually the experience you had here, and that's what you don't like, because it's totally obnoxious and outside of what you think could be productivity. So you aren't just what you say you are what you listen to. And it's an experience. And we are currently reviewing the Medina Charter by Muhammad and just how unfair it is to the Jews. Subsection 46, and this prescript, this is the last one. And this prescript shall not be of any avail to any oppressor or breaker of covenant. And one shall have security, whether one goes out to a campaign or remains in Medina, or else it will be an oppression and breach of covenant. And God is the protector of him who performs the obligations with faithfulness and care, and is also his messenger, Muhammad. All right, everybody, I want to thank you for coming to Muhammad the Musical, an Islamic journey of faith in the Ummah. This is Bible and Quran, the Constitution of Medina. In the Bible and Quran room put on here by Megatron, our faithful shop steward, constantly putting in drills, working on all kinds of carpentry and banging around with hammers. He himself is
I don't know, fucking partner. I gotta make me do something out in Megatron. Did you ever get a partner the other day? Or did you have to do it all by yourself while everybody else had a partner to work with?
Well, I complained about that because they had partners. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I understand all too well, my friend.
Okay, thank you. If you have a partner, why should you be bitching about what you do? I don't have one. But do I need to hire another guy for that? Right? Are you okay?
What do? Do you do carpentry? Do you do drywall? You do roofing? You do flooring? You do walling? You do pressure washing? What do you do? Electric? Plumbing?
I do a little bit of nothing.
You like a handyman?
Yeah, I'm a gardener.
He's a gardener. You like a lawn guy?
Exactly.
So do you think that the Jews living in Israel and all the Arabs and the Muslims that surround them, do you think it's kind of like the white and black relationship in America? Hello?
That's actually.
I got opinions on that.
I mean, but everything you described there is exactly what the Christians did when they came to America. So I'm gonna think that those rules are kind of like pansy compared to the ones.
Wait, what did the Christians do?
What happened with them?
Did they cut people's heads off?
It gets messy. I don't think we do. It's just because that's satanic.
Well, them niggas cutting heads off.
That's what I mean. It's because they don't know. No, somebody didn't tell them. This is not cool. They read the book, they know.
You know what I think is weird is when it's not only that the immigrant drivers are driving bad, but then you pull up alongside them, you roll down your window, you try to give them a tip, like you say, hey, you're in a left turn only lane, you're not allowed to go straight from this lane. And they say, what do you want me to do? What do you expect me to do? And they don't even say, thank you. They just say, leave me alone. Go to drive your car.
Well, I was
The universe contains multitudes.
I was talking to
Everyone on this app is from New York. Don't let them fool you. We
Well-
say we're in other places, but they're not.
Well, I was talking to Mikhail yesterday, and he claims that the Medina Charter is like resolved, and that I don't know. He has a way of like resolving this. I suppose even historically or spiritually. But the only reason I bring it up is because it just when you try to like reframe their frame, it holds up, and it's totally unfair and ridiculous and medieval. But I just don't get the feeling that Muslims are updated. And actually, I do kind of believe in evolution of the human body, not just like spiritual evolution or cosmic evolution or psychological evolution. I think like physical evolution could, and I think that Americans could be like actually higher evolved human beings than the English, the British. Because I've seen some videos of like British leaders who look actually, in my opinion, like their bodies haven't evolved. And therefore, I think their intelligence has retrograded and possibly brain rotted out because to let your whole country become Muslim in the way that they've done it, like unstoppably since the 60s, like maybe it's because the best of them left and went to America and they were left with all the low IQ and unevolved body types. It's just a theory. Could be comedy. I don't know. Hello?
What's with the whole thing?
Oh, it's a clubhouse
I
thing.
wanted to ask you that.
No, I understand. It's a clubhouse thing because I go into rooms all the time and I hear women going, "Hello?"
Yeah, you knew he was talking, so. There's more to the show. Hello? Hello? I figured I could did something. Maybe something to do over here. But is your job like this, my friend? You just walk around like Bishop.
See, what's so amazing about the cult of Muhammad is that it's just right there in the paperwork. He actually says, if there's conflict, go to God, but also come to me. I'm the new guru and arbitrator of all your conflicts. So,
That sounds legit.
yeah, but basically, he's so successful at it. I mean, to think that right now, 2026, he has 1.1 billion people that pray to him, love him, and think that his way of life is the optimal solution to colonialism, to Western imperialism, to unenlightened legal systems. But when you actually look here in the charter, the legal system is just based on intimidation, blood money. And it's just, so it goes to show you that a true Muslim is a true Muslim if they know nothing about it. If you know nothing about Islam, well, then you are a true Muslim because basically you have to just be stupid, and you don't know anything about what you think you know. And I'm not saying that doesn't apply to all religions, but what we really have here is not a religion. We have a guruism, a political shop, a political in-group versus the political out-group, and it's all or nothing. And in cognitive behavioral therapy, they call that a cognitive distortion disorder. And there's a checklist of cognitive distortion disorders, like mind reading. Many people mind read. They think they're thinking about what somebody else's brain is thinking or something. It's like a compulsive behavior. And because of all the stuff that they have in there about the Jews, it's a red flag document. Like, view this as like a dating profile. You swipe right on the Charter of Medina and you're like, I'm detecting a lot of red flags on this profile here. That's basically one way to like compress it, to try to get home my point that Western culture and Charter of Medina culture are at odds, and it's just a historical fact. The Islamic invasion of Europe, whether it's 2026 or 725 or whatever year the caliphates, it's a dark period in human history because it's basically industrialized mafia gangsterism. All or nothing thinking based on brutal slaughter, like hardcore conquests.
Yeah, but I don't know what's wrong with that.
Well, it's not intelligent, and you can actually basically do a comparison between the intelligence of Magna
So I
Carta
think they're really
Constitution.
sloppy. I think they're kind of sloppy when they talk about it. Probably.
I'd like to answer. I'd like to.
Other than that, I mean, I think it's just hey, they took over the land.
Well, if you say what's wrong with that, the answer is it's not intelligent. But why? What's not intelligent about it? It's because with language translating apps and books and writing and psychedelic drugs and psychotherapy and meditative thought and cross-cultural experience, we are able to
Can you add
communicate.
one more?
No,
Yeah,
just
one more.
chilling and being homies. We are able to communicate with each other through the process of chilling and being homies, and we should be able to transcend what we've been doing for millions of years, which is smashing each other's brains with a rock. And if he's saying the charter of Medina culture is not compatible with cosmopolitan contemporary Western culture, the issue is if we keep smashing each other's brains with rocks, we're going to keep smashing each other's brains with rocks. And eventually somebody's going to smash your brain with a rock, or you're going to be forced to smash somebody else in the brain with a rock, which I don't know if you've ever cut off the head of an animal, but I've cut off the head of a deer. It sucks. It's very challenging to do, and I would never want to smash anybody's brain with a rock or have to cut off anybody's head. And so I think that the problem, when he says it's not intelligent, it's that it's caveman stuff. And we've been doing caveman stuff for 3 million years. And now we have Clubhouse, and we have Vic lighters, and we have automobiles, and we should evolve. We should allow ourselves to evolve
I
past.
think, my friend, I think Megatron gets that, but I just want to submit that if I could try to define God in any way accurately, it would be to say that God has to be the highest level of intelligence in the universe. Whatever, if you want to say the whole universe is like a collective intelligence, one way to look at it is to actually look at a tree. My friend here actually does a lot of stuff in the forest, but I have a tree in my backyard and I was looking at it and I thought, you know what? Every man and woman is a leaf, and the branches are communication networks. And there's all these other variables impacting this tree system of leaves and branches. And there's all these different variables and names for different parts of the tree, whether it's the roots or the husk or the whole, there's different parts you could probably give names. But anyways, what I'm trying to get at is that whole network is the intelligence of God. And when we can expose historical Islam as being unfair and not up to date, we can try to bring other people who are actually not up to date. And in that way, we can actually create a more stable peace and security, because there are homicidal people on this app. Mikhail is one of them. And yesterday he confirmed that he will kill, he wants to kill, he wants to be in a war, he wants to see incredible chaos and devastation. And he does believe in an Islamic caliphate, and he thinks that Islam is the greatest updated version of religion 2.0. And those are the dangerous people who, the thing is, you'll never convince them. I'm just saying from like a public speaking perspective to try to like put some light on dark periods of history by showing the all or nothing statements in documents like this. Because we could also now transition to Magna Carta and then get into Declaration of Independence and try to show transcendental thought, which is saying that we will still engage in professional soldiery and war, but this type of gangster, mafia, Don Corleone, Five Family shit, it's not acceptable in polite society. And we will root it out and we will fight it to the death. In the same way that the FBI, CIA, etc., has probably gone to war with secret societies, and they themselves are a fucking secret society. But anyways, I'm just trying to say, the last chapter of Balthasar Gracian's book is Be Good. In a word, be a saint. And when I talk to Mikhail, he's like a demon saint, And I'm trying to say, be good on both ends of the spectrum. because that's your greatest security, cognitive security you could hope for is try to tell people what you mean without being mean, and therefore you won't suffer any retaliation. But this document of Medina, the charter, it doesn't do that. I am complete. Hello?
You got a problem with that, and it's twofold. Number one, Islam already had a period where it tried to do what you were wanting it to do, and it did not work. The Islam you see today is probably the latest iteration of it. Before it was not broad in its scope and thought, and somewhat more accepting of new ideas. And then something happening with Wahhabis took over and it just kind of closed down. So you can go backwards. The second problem is people on the opposite end of the spectrum of your friend Mikhail there don't want to fight or ready to conflict at any point or in any way. And it's much easier for them to punish you for bringing up the problem than it is to punish them for being the problem, which is what England is full of.
Yeah, but he's lying about Mikhail. He's just being a big baby about it. You know?
Well, I'm just using him as an example.
He feels threatened by this man.
No.
And he's
Using him as an example, I'm just saying there's got to be deranged people out there who are dangerous people, and they can utilize. See, philosophically, the now is a compression of the past and the future. We don't know the future, but if you spend time studying the past, you're basically clarifying the now. You can't really predict the future, but based on the compression, I'm just saying Islam, has a technical problem in this charter. This is an old project. They're still running the same experiment on an old project charter.
They don't care.
Their scope is out of date, therefore they all suck and are out of date. Yeah, they don't care because they're stupid. But see, that's the fun of making fun of people and calling them stupid.
So you have to change the values. It's not about politics. Like I could say, hey, look at this thing, it's shocking. It might shock you because you have the same values. So it's have those values. Don't shock them. Just be like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. So
You see any patches? I'm asking you. That's it, guys. Good job.
See, I think I actually would like to have been a lawyer because when I listen to litigators on this app go on a dopamine litigation tear, you realize that like courts and lawyers and protocol and the ceremony of going to trial, it all sucks because those fuckers who are making money there at your expense are just going on a dopamine trip at your fucking expense as the victim of a court. It really kind of sucks. So I could see how legalistically, referring all issues to Muhammad and the Ummah could probably be better than going to like a Western woke liberal courtroom. And I'm not saying I want to be a Muslim. I'm just saying I think a lot of the Americans, especially in the legal judicial industrial complex known as lawyers and attorneys, they are fucking vampires and they shouldn't be entitled to the high adjusted gross income that they derive out of the blood and sweat and years of labor of Americans who are victims to attorneys and lawyers and judges. I am complete. You know what's so funny is I got slandered when I ran for Congress. They claimed that I committed petition fraud. But the funniest thing is the guy that claimed that, the attorney who represented Darren LaHood, my opponent, He got paid $120,000 for 1 day of work to show up before the judge. Isn't that fucking amazing? $120,000 a congressman paid a lawyer to challenge me, John Kitover, in court. And so for him to slander me, but be one of the greatest paydays of his fucking life, I made that for him, you know. And it's only because I ran that he got that fucking money. And I didn't commit fraud, but slander and libel in politics is real because you can slander anybody. I mean, they're going to have to bring suit against you. And it does impact, you know, voter sentiment on whether or not they want to go to the ballot box because now they think you're a fucking scumbag. But anyways, that's neither here nor there in the Megatron Daniel Uma room. Tamaria, welcome to the room. Are you aware of the Charter of Medina?
Sorry, what was the question?
Are you aware of the Charter of Medina issued by Muhammad?
Oh no, I'm not familiar.
Are you a Muslim, sir? Because we do believe that there's a high correlation amongst Muslims that are completely unaware of the Charter of Medina, the Constitution.
Are you a Muslim, Tamaria?
No, I'm not a Muslim.
Okay.
You know, we have Beef here, the legendary ginger Jew of Clubhouse, the fierce debater of Islam. Beef has had a Beef has had an incredible journey and experience here on Clubhouse. I've heard him cry. I mean, just pouring buckets. But this is...
Well, the other day I heard him say to Norm, die, old Norm, and he said something like he did a rap. He was doing a freeze. Did you hear this?
I know. I did, actually. I heard the follow-up. I also heard him follow up on it. Beef, you're one of my favorite people here. I just want to let you know. And the fact that you don't bring me up on your stages,
It's like, I'm going to make you drink my cum or something insane.
Yeah, really crazy. But look at his PTR. Look at the coloration in his skin. You know, and like, see, I don't have issues with sun, but I do have, you know, everybody has skin issues. Like Chelsea Clinton, Hillary Clinton's daughter, I just saw she ran like the Boston Marathon. And I was like, what in the fuck is wrong with this bitch's skin, bro? She's got psoriasis everywhere. I was like, yikes. Like, she was so pale. And so I do think there is something about the sun. And if you are a Christian and you are constantly referring to the sun, there's power in the sun. I do think I'm just a sun worshiper. I'm like a cat man. Because come 4 o'clock, when that sun is pouring through my windows, I just want to sit in the sun. And I think it's good for you. And it's the source of tremendous power and health. And if you don't like the metaphor that Jesus Christ is the Son of God the Father, you know, the universal God, I mean, you just don't understand Marvel comic books. Because if we have a universal God and we have a universal sun, it's just metaphor for the light of the sun. And this is where Kabbalah comes in, where Ein Sof, the limitless light, pours into all the 10 Sephiroth. And now you got 10 variables to meditate on, like Chokmah, Binah. Like, these are mantras. They're vibrations. Hello?
Real quick, beef. Wait. No, but real quick, I've got a question for you. But I have a question for you, actually. I was going to say something to you.
One sec.
Well, no.
Welcome to the stage, Beef.
Yeah.
To the stage.
But I wanted to ask you, Beef. Hang on. Well, wait a minute. Yeah, but Beef.
One second. Hey, one second. One second.
I know you want to crash out. I'm sure you want to crash out, but I just wanted to ask you, how come you don't accept me to the stage? Every time I'm in your rooms and you're the moderator, you never invite me to the stage. And I'm just wondering about that. When I'm in the audience in your rooms, I always raise my hand when I'm in the audience in your rooms, and you never invite me up on the stage when you're the moderator. I'm just wondering, why don't you invite me up on stage when you're the moderator in your own rooms? Do you have a problem with me or something? Because there are many times that I've been raising my hands when I've been in the audience in your rooms. I'm talking to Beef. Beef, basically, when I'm in your room,
up on stage. I got there's no particular reason why. I'm gonna let you finish. I just wanted to ask this question really quick, if I could. The question is essentially, when I'm in your rooms and I'm raising my hand, you don't let me up on stage, and I'm wondering why. I see that you're trying to respond, but I wanted to ask you this question first. I'm gonna let you finish. You can go right after me.
Go for it.
But I wanted to ask, how come when I'm in the audience in your rooms and you're the moderator on stage, why don't you let me up onto the stage? Why do you always make me wait in the audience? I see that you want to speak, but I'm trying to ask you a question, so I don't even know what you're saying. You're probably saying some sort of nonsense right now. You're probably talking right now about fucking me in the ass or making me drink all of your cum because you're a little gay. I don't know what you're saying, to be honest with you. I have no idea. Nor do I care. But I do have a question for you. My question, quite simply and plainly, I'll just try to ask it again because I'm sure that you're not listening. But my question is, when I'm in the audience in your rooms, and you're the moderator, can you just listen to me for a second? So when I'm in the audience and you're the moderator on stage, you don't let me up on stage. Like, I have my hand raised, a lot of time goes by, other people come up on stage, Zed comes up on stage. Caleb comes up on stage, but I don't know why you don't let me up on stage. Maybe that's my question for you.
The answer is because you're a piece of trash. You're a rotten, disgusting, smelly piece of trash. All of your contributions are worthless. I don't want to speak. You're not intelligent. You're not funny. You don't have a savoir-faire. You don't have a sang-froid. You're not a fucking wit. You're just a fucking piece of trash. You're annoying. You're a loser. You're ugly. You're stupid. Nothing you say is of any merit or value. I find you uninteresting. You're a fucking literal fucking worm, intellectually and rhetorically. And I find it completely uninteresting to hear the sound of you. So the reason why I don't invite you on stage is because you are just a literally worthless fucking piece of trash. You're a fucking rotten, self-hating
Thank you for that
piece of
explanation.
shit that others hate you as well. So it's not just self-hating. The world hates you, and you are fucking disgusting. Your thoughts are disgusting. Your heart is disgusting. Your dreams are disgusting. Your plans are disgusting. Everything about you is just utterly worthless, uninteresting, listless, fucking gray, milquetoast, boring, fucking
Thank you for that.
uninteresting, redundant, unfunny, worthless fucking trash. That's why I don't bring you on stage.
Okay, thank you. I just had that one question.
Can I hear that again? I
just asked Beef a question.
Hold on. I want to hear what he had to say. What were you saying, Beef? Can you say that again?
Oh yeah, sure. So what I was saying about my friend is the reason why I don't invite him on stage is because he's literally worthless. Nothing he says matters. He's the most boring person I've had the displeasure of running into on this app. It's actually fucking blood coming out of my ears when I hear you. You're a fucking plague, an audio plague. And even when I have my fingers on my ears, I still can't drown out the shriek, shrill, fucking awfulness of your voice.
Okay. All right. Now
John Kitover, I had a question for you. Now that we've gotten that question answered. You said that you had a video.
Thanks for letting me go first. I appreciate
Islam
that.
document. You said it was popular. Where can I find the video that you have about me discussing Islam in my document? I'd love to watch it.
Thanks for letting me go first, Sam. That was nice of you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. I hope you got my answer satisfactory.
No, it's not a video.
Very clear.
Sam, it's not a video of you discussing your document. I screenshotted your Google Word doc and made a video out of it, and then overlaid Muslim music, and it was very popular.
Where can I find that?
I'd have to Google it because I have over 100,000 videos on YouTube, so I'd have to search
Is it
for it.
John Kitover Islam or something like that? Or
Maybe. I think maybe you could type in like Sam Rosen Clubhouse Islam Google Word doc, maybe. Oh, and I just wanted to say that earlier that piece of shit, annoying, schizophrenic, Jew-hating, anti-Semite rabbi was in here, and I just want to say that I said to him, when you realize what projection is, it's a motherfucker. Because there's a little projection, and then there's a big projection, the big P projection. And if you believe in the little self, or you believe in the big self, when you insult other people and you do ad hominem projection, it's always just, the way you feel about yourself, because your dialectic is who you are. And so everything that Beef just said to my friend is the way that Sam Rosen actually feels about himself. And I feel sorry for you, Sam. And I hate hearing you cry on this app. And I just hope you find the strength within your tuchus to bust a nut and be happy again. Hello?
Wow, that was very kind.
I am happy again. When you first met me, I was very miserable because I had recently gone through a divorce. I was living in a church with my fathers. It wasn't the best situation. But now I live in Slovenia. I have a hot fiance who's really wonderful and smart. I traveled to Venice recently, and my life is really good. So I'm in a good place.
Well, egg online.
Well, you were being rude to me, so I decided to just.
No, I wasn't. I was just trying to ask you a question.
No, you weren't. You were just being redundantly mean.
You got on stage, and I was going to go first. So did you. You didn't mute the fuck up, and let me ask you something.
It was rude that you kept doing it, so then I just had to get mean.
Well, I think it's rude that you don't let me on stage just because you don't like me.
Why would I want to be around people I don't like?
Well, if you're the moderator of a public space and you're trying to moderate a
It's private.
well, it's essentially a public space if the room is
No,
public.
it's a private. My house, my rules.
Yeah, but anybody can join.
Maybe they can't join the stage.
Oh, gentlemen, I hate to interrupt you, but
What's a new topic? How long have I been here?
Yeah.
What, on the app?
Yeah.
Too long, probably. I don't know. 2021?
Okay, good.
I've been on this app long enough that I used to think that John Kitover's name was Edmund and that he was British.
We're gonna lose again. The only difference is, I believe China sat back and watched and said, "Yeah, we ain't gonna do what Japan did. We ain't gonna do that. Now we're gonna do things differently." And they're gonna be this at our own game long term. This whole I'm gonna use my ISO to keep you down is only gonna work for so. Because again, they were that big of a threat. How come we ain't Iran them yet? How come we ain't invaded them? Shock and awe, huh? Or because they're Chinese and I'm racist? Hi, y'all, shock and awe, huh? How come? Okay, all right.
I didn't know that Sam was that irrational. I always thought that he was like a philosopher kind of level-headed type. But I guess he
yeah, he's
crashed out
hot-blooded.
with the best of them.
He's hot-blooded, but you see, this is the difference between like a Marcus Aurelius philosopher that believes in God and then like a gay academic philosopher atheist who just views it as like a dialectic, semantic, large language model or something like that, where like Alan Watts says they do philosophy 9 to 5 or something. So, but again, he went through, everybody has a broken heart. I think, I like to think about my life just in, there's a book, God, it's like the women of, I can't remember, some guy, maybe it was like Aleister Crowley's wives. It's like a book about all the women that Aleister Crowley ever banged. It's like 400 women or something like that. But basically, imagine writing a book about every woman you ever slept with, every experience. Like, that's who you are. You're not just who, what your conditioning is. You're just basically, I don't think we live inside our body. Meaning, like, I think we're actually outside our body. And the environment is really who and what you are. And your words are just so valuable that, God, you could be so rich, but if you got a bad attitude and you're angry all the time and you're a screamer, to me, it's just like bad for your nervous system. Like Taoistic meditation, Zen philosophy, Buddhism, Hinduism. To me, those people really know how to sit back and bust a nut and just relax, you know? And I think our legal system here is like so restrictive that that's the reason why we don't have more gurus and like chill societies, and we have horrific violent gun crime and YNs flashing their guns, rapping their drill music. I mean, we have a culture of death and terrorism, internally and externally. You know, I know there's crime in other countries, horrific crime, you know, and mafia and gangsters and, you know, horrible, trashy people that murder you for your fucking moped, you know, or, you know, light you on fire on a fucking train or slice your throat on a fucking train, you know, horrible, despicable people that I wish we fucking, you know, could do public executions with and make a whole Sunday out of it. I got no problems with that. I could live with that law, but I wouldn't call it the Ummah. I would just call it American jurisprudence. Hello?
I'm always so tickled when people insult me for being a piece of garbage or being a garbage bag and say, "You're a trash bag, you're a piece of garbage." That's the whole point of self-deprecation. I got there first. I beat him to the punch.
Yeah. You technically you give people an out though. You give people an out though with your first name. But when, you know, anyways.
I know, but imagine if I was like your friend, the guru, nature hero, and then they still called me a piece of fucking garbage.
Well, see, how's your new experiment going with your new phone?
Yeah, I appreciate the accountability check. I haven't really had a chance to use it yet. I do have one excuse, which is that I did cut my thumb, severely cut my thumb, so I haven't really been doing
Oh
it
my gosh.
because my thumb was cut. But I am going to do it, and I appreciate the accountability check.
Yeah, basket weaving can be dangerous. That's the one thing is cause and effect. Art and critic. Most critics don't know the sacrifices that the artist makes to create their criticism. That's why I really dislike critics. They're so obnoxious. It's their right, though, to be a critic. But it's your right to be an artist. And not many people think that Megatron is an artist, but I think he is a great artist. And same with Daniel Nero. And even Narges. Have you heard her sing her sexy French, you know, music? Holy shit. That chick's a winner. So Rabboni Shalom, everybody. Welcome back to Bible, Quran, and Poems. I wanna play you a poem from a Jew harp.
So I have a request, a poem from you, Mr.
Dr. Universe.
Tim. For a request, I want you to look up this person. Are you ready?
the middle pillar. Take a seated position. While you are in this relaxed position and breathing rhythmically, we will do the middle pillar exercise. Sit upright in your chair, both feet on the floor, alert, and fully relaxed. Join with me in this invocation. O Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, ruler of the light and the darkness, we adore thee and we adore. Favor upon thee.
Got a pile of clothes you never wear anymore? Turn them into cash with Vinted. Snap a photo.
Invocation of truth. Procul, o procul esti profani, all lasti Pompeda. In the name of the mighty and terrible one, I proclaim that I have banished the shells unto their habitations. I invoke Tahuti, the Lord of wisdom and of utterance, the God that cometh forth from the veil. O thou, majesty of the Godhead, wisdom crowned Tahuti, Lord of the gates of the universe, thee I invoke. O thou of the ibis head, thee I invoke. Thou who wieldest the wand of double power, thee I invoke. Thou who bearest in thy left hand the rose and cross of life and light, thee I invoke. Thou whose head is as an emerald, and thy limbs as the night sky blue, thee I invoke. Thou whose skin is a flaming orange as though it burned in a furnace, thee I invoke. Behold, I am yesterday, today, and the brother of tomorrow. I am born again and again. Mine is the unseen force whereof the gods are sprung, which is as light unto the dwellers in the watchtowers of the universe. I am the charioteer of the east, lord of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, Lord of resurrection, who cometh forth from the dust, and my birth is from the house of death. O ye true
the God of wisdom is in my heart. My tongue is the sanctuary of truth, and a guard sitteth upon my lips. My word is accomplished every day, and the desire of my heart realizes itself as that of the tar when he created his works. I am eternal, therefore all things are as my designs, therefore do all things obey my word. Therefore do thou come forth unto me from thine abode in silence, unutterable wisdom, or light, or power. So, Hermes, Mercury, Odin, by whatever name I call thee, thou art still nameless to eternity. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of ours. Thou, star of the east, that didst conduct the Magi, thou
Here
art
are
the
5
same
animals that have been
endeavor
modified by
that
human
hell.
seed. Number 5, ancient gringos have undergone intense genetic selection that causes muscle hypertrophy known as double muscling, the name Seneca.
The sun is thy father.
This allows for a higher meat yield per animal, although it also requires special care due to their body structure, age, Number 4, featherless chickens.
Come thou forth, I say, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the firmament of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, roaring air and of the rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God the vast one may be obedient unto thee.
Chicago baby, going to the Temper's World with beautiful new Chicago babies. Chicago babies.
A business partner says the lawsuit got resolved, but the details stay blurry. VIN-verified court cases help search court records across federal, state, and local courts, so it's easier to look up what happened with a case number. Tap below, enter a case number, see what you could find.
and the brother of tomorrow. I am born again and again. Mine is the unseen force whereof the gods are sprung, which is as light unto the dwellers in the watchtowers of the universe. I am the charioteer of the east, lord of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, Lord of resurrection, who cometh forth from the dust, and my birth is from the house of death. O ye two divine hawks upon your pinnacles, who keep watch over the universe, ye who accompany the bier to the house of rest, who pilot the ship of wrong, ever advancing onwards to the heights of heaven, Lord of the shrine which stands in the center of the earth. Behold, he is in me, and I in him. Mine is the radiance, wherein the star floateth over the sun. I travel upon high. I tread upon the firmament of new. I raise up flashing flame with the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on in the splendor of the day glorified Ra, giving my life to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountain, the celestial waters shall flow at my word. For I am Ra incarnate, Hefra, created in the flesh. I am the eidolon of my father Tanu, lord of the city of the sun. The God who commands is in my mouth. The God of wisdom is in my heart. My tongue is the sanctuary of truth, and the God sitteth upon my lips. My word is accomplished every day, and the desire of my heart realizes itself as that of the tower when he created his works. I am eternal, therefore all things are as my designs, therefore do all things obey my word. Therefore do thou come forth unto me from thine abode in the silence, unutterable wisdom, or light, or power. Thoth, Hermes, Mercury, Odin, by whatever name I call thee, thou art still nameless to eternity. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of art. Thou, star of the east, that didst conduct the Magi, thou art the same all present in heaven and in hell. Thou that vibratest between the light and the darkness, rising, descending, changing ever yet ever the same. The sun is thy father, thy mother the moon. The wind hath formed thee in its bosom, and earth has never nourished the changeless guardian of rain. Come thou forth, I say, come thou forth, and make all spirits subject unto thee, so that every spirit of the firmament of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of burning air and of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God's vast one may be obedient unto thee. habitations. I invoke Tahuti, the Lord of wisdom and of utterance, the God that cometh forth from the veil. O thou, majesty of the Godhead, wisdom crowned Tahuti, Lord of the gates of the universe, thee I invoke. O thou of the ibis head, thee I invoke. Thou who wieldest the wand of double power, thee I invoke. Thou who bearest in thy left hand the roll of life and life, thee I invoke. Thou whose head is as an emerald, and thy limbs as the night sky blue, thee I invoke. Thou whose skin is as flaming scarlet as though it burned in a furnace, thee I invoke. I am yesterday, today, and the world tomorrow. I am born again and again. Mine is the unseen force whereof the gods are sprung, which is as light unto the dwellers in the watchtowers of the universe. I am the Chancellor of the East, Lord of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, Lord of resurrection,
Just want to make sure I understand
from the dust.
I made a claymation out starring.
All ye two divine folks upon your pinnacles, who keep watch over the universe, ye who company the bier to the house of rest, who pilot the ship of wrong, ever advancing onward to the heights of heaven, Lord of the bride which stands in the midst of the earth. He is in me, and I in him. Mine is the way, I will pass through the sun. I travel on high. I tread upon the firmament of
Inshallah.
I raise
The
a flashing
Ummah.
flame from the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on in the splendor of the age-glorified Ra, giving my life to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountain,
Inshallah, the Ummah answers to Muhammad and Allah.
my word. For I am Ra incarnate, Ketover, created in the flesh. I am the eidolon of my father Tamu, Lord of the city of the sun. The God who commands is my mouth. The God of wisdom is my mouth. My tongue is sanctity of truth, and the God who sitteth upon my lips. My word is a promise every day. And the desire of my heart realizes when he created his world. Therefore all things are as my designs. Therefore do all things obey my word. Therefore do thou transport unto me from mine abode in silence. I am
Why should we win the winner?
all life
We won.
forever.
They are militarily defeated. The only thing they have.
Mercury, Odin, by whatever name I call thee, thou art still nameless to return. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of art. Thou, star of the east, that is conduct the Magi, thou art the same all present in heaven and in hell. Thou art my great between the light and the darkness, rising, descending, changing ever in the same. The sun is thy father, thy mother the moon. The wind hath borne thee in its bosom, and earth and living matter change the guardian of rain. Come thou forth, I say, come thou forth, and make all spirits subject unto thee, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of roaring air and of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God's vast one may be obedient unto thee.
very specific.
Invocation of truth. Procul, o procul esti profani. On lasti, on pedo. In the name of the mighty and terrible one, I proclaim that I have banished the shells unto their habitations. I invoke Tahuti, the Lord of wisdom and of utterance, the God that cometh forth from the veil. O thou, majesty of the Godhead, wisdom crowned Tahuti, Lord of the gates of the universe, thee I invoke. O thou of the ibis head, thee I invoke. Thou who wieldest the wand of double power, thee I invoke. Thou who bearest in thy left hand the rose and cross of light and life, thee I invoke. Thou whose head is as an emerald, and thy nemes as the night sky blue, thee I invoke. Thou whose skin is of flaming
Between
orange
getting
as
them
though
live
it
on
burned
X-Space
in a
is farting,
furnace,
playing video games, eating butter soap.
thee I invoke. Behold, I am yesterday, today, and the brother of tomorrow. I am born again and again. Mine is the unseen force whereof the gods are sprung, which is as light unto the dwellers in the watchtowers of the universe. I am the charioteer of the east, lord of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, Lord of resurrection, who cometh forth from the dust, and my birth is from the house of death. O ye two divine hawks upon your pinnacles, who keep watch over the universe, ye who company the bier to the house of rest, who pilot the ship of wrong, ever advancing onwards to heights of heaven, Lord of the shrine which standeth in the center of the earth. Behold, he is in me, and I in him. Mine is the radiance, wherein the tar floateth over the throne. I travel upon high. I tread upon the firmament of you. I raise up flashing flame with the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on in the splendor of the daily glorified Ra, giving my life to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountain, the celestial waters shall flow at my word. For I am Ra incarnate, Hephra, created in the flesh. I am the idol of my father Tulu, Lord of the city of the sun. The God who commands is in my mouth. The God of wisdom is in my heart. My tongue is the sanctuary of truth, and the God sitteth upon my lips. My word is accomplished every day, and the desire of my heart realizes itself as that of the tower when he created his works. I am eternal, therefore all things are as my designs, therefore do all things obey my word. Therefore do thou come forth unto me from thine abode in silence, unutterable wisdom, all light, fourth house. Sols, Hermes, Mercury, Odin. Why, whatever name I call thee, thou art still nameless to eternity. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of art. Thou, star of the east, that didst conduct the Magi, thou art the same all present in heaven and in hell. Thou that vibratest between the light and the darkness, rising, descending, changing ever yet ever the same. The sun is thy father, thy mother the moon. The wind hath formed thee in its bosom, and earth has ever nourished the changeless Godhead of thy youth. Come thou forth, I say, come thou forth, and make all spirits subject unto thee, so that every spirit of the whirlwinds of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of roaring air and of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God's vast one may be obedient unto thee. Invocation of Clubs. Procul, o procul esti profani, on lasti, on peda. In the name of the mighty and terrible one, I proclaim that I have banished the shells unto their habitations. I invoke Tahuti, the Lord of wisdom and of utterance, the God that cometh forth from the veil. O thou, majesty of the Godhead, wisdom crowned Tahuti, Lord of the gates of the universe, thee I invoke. O thou of the ibis head, thee I invoke. Thou who wieldest the wand of double power, thee I invoke. Thou who bearest in thy left hand the rose and cross of light and light, thee I invoke. Thou whose head is as an emerald, and thy nemes as the night sky blue, thee I invoke. Thou whose skin is of flaming orange as though it burned in a furnace, thee I invoke. Behold, I am yesterday, today, and the brother of tomorrow. I am born again and again. Mine is the unseen force whereof the gods are sprung, which is as light unto the dwellers in the watchtowers of the universe. I am the charioteer of the east, lord of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, Lord of resurrection, who cometh forth from the dust, and my birth from the house of death. O ye two divine hawks upon your pinnacles, who keep watch over the universe, the ship of wrong, ever advancing onwards, the heights of heaven, Lord of the shrine which stands in the center of the earth. Behold, he is in me, and I in him. Mine is the radiance, wherein the tar floateth over the foam. I travel upon high, I tread upon the firmament of you. I raise a flashing flame with the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on to the splendor of the day glorified Ra, giving my life to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountain, the celestial waters shall flow at my word. For I am Ra incarnate, Hekra, created in the flesh. I am the eidolon of my father Tanu, Lord of the city of the sun. The God who commands is in my mouth. The God of wisdom is in my heart. My tongue is the sanctuary of truth, and a guard sitteth upon my lips. My word is accomplished every day, and the desire of my heart realizes itself as that of the tar when he created his world. I am eternal, therefore all things are as my designs, therefore do all things obey my word. Therefore do thou come forth unto me from thine abode in silence, unnatural wisdom, or light, or power. So, Hermes, Mercury, Odin, by whatever name I call thee, thou art still nameless to eternity. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of art. Thou, star of the east, that didst conduct the Magi, thou art the same all present in heaven and in hell. Thou that vibratest between the light and the darkness, rising, ascending, changing ever yet ever the same. The sun is thy father, thy mother the moon. The wind hath formed thee in its bosom, and earth hath ever nourished the changeless guardian of thy youth. Come thou forth, I say, come thou forth, and make all spirits subject unto sky blue, they are in color. Thou whose skin is of flaming orange as though it burned in a furnace, they are in color. Behold, I am yesterday, today, and the brother of tomorrow. I am born again and again. Mine is the unseen force whereof the gods are sprung, which is as light unto the dwellers in the watchtowers of the universe. I am the charioteer of the east, lord of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, Lord of resurrection, who cometh forth from the dust, and my birth is from the house of death. O ye two divine hawks upon your pinnacles, who keep watch over the universe, ye who accompany the bier to the house of rest, who pilot the ship of wrong, ever advancing onwards to the heights of heaven, Lord of the shrine which stands in the center of the earth. Behold, he is in me, and I in him. Mine is the radiance, wherein we talk close over the throne. I travel upon high. I tread upon the firmament of you. I raise up flashing flame with the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on in the splendor of the daily glorified law, giving my life to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountains, the celestial waters shall flow at my word. For I am Ra incarnate, Hephra, created in the flesh. I am the eidolon of my father Tamu, lord of the city of the sun. The God who commands is in my mouth. The God of wisdom is in my heart. My tongue is the sanctuary of truth, and a guard is sitteth upon my lips. My word is accomplished every day, and the desire of my heart realizes itself as that of the tower when he created his works. I am eternal, therefore all things are as my designs, therefore do all things obey my word. Therefore do thou come forth unto me from thine abode in silence, unutterable wisdom, or light, or power. So, Hermes, Mercury, Odin, by whatever name I call thee, thou art still nameless to eternity. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of art.
So, Kitty, talk to me.
Thou, star of the east,
I just don't know you for a long walk and your legs is boring, so I'm tired. And what are you doing?
Right now, I'm
changing ever yet ever the same. The sun is thy father, thy mother the moon. The wind
And I
has
listened
only in its
to
order,
Human University's reading. It's pretty interesting. Thing about Movement.
guardian of brain.
Heard that
Oh,
one.
that's nonsense. That doesn't prove
And make
anything.
all spirits up
But it's still the most interesting conversation. Everyone sucks. Chauvinism is retarded.
on the earth
And I
under
look
the
on the
earth,
hallway. There's
on
nothing else.
dry land and in water, of wording air and of precious fire, and every spell and
I mean, I
spirit
got to do it wrong with Laura, and she was there with like some African thugs that were like criminals and out of it. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm a Christian. And then she laughed. And then they're like, they start asking like a bunch of weird questions. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to answer them. And then basically take me from the room. So that's fine. I don't care. Yeah. Well, they had stated that they're black and they're superior to me. And I'm like, no, I'm an American. Although I'm a woman, I'm white. And I'm better than you. And they're naked. But that's fine.
okay.
So Daniel hasn't talked much. He's having a few messages. Hope he's well.
I think he just leaves his phone on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna homes right now, but so there's a few more people piling in. What do you want to chat about?
Did you like the scriptures I brought up yesterday? Remember the day I was going over them with you?
Yes, I did. I even like the one yes, definitely. Yeah, especially when you make the understanding and correlation for me when I go from Daniel to the New Testament, where it's prophecy that is fulfilled, and you can have the full understanding and scope of where it's saying, like this is going to be a kingdom that's never ending. Hey, sorry, here's the squeaky toy.
Invocation of truth. Procul, o procul esti profani. Lasti, pedo. In the name of the mighty and terrible one, I proclaim that I have banished the shells unto their habitations. I invoke Tahuti, the Lord of wisdom and of utterance, the God that cometh forth from the veil.
It's difficult to talk to somebody like that. What's his name? Islamic. When he just wants, or not even that. That was AJ, I think. Don't. Like he actually sounded like AJ dude. Like he had like an open slate, an open mind, where he's like, let's pretend as though I don't know anything and tell me from your perspective how I can come to this conclusion. And although he was a bit like a contrarian, he still was kind of at least giving it a fair shake, as opposed to others that don't want to hear it, don't believe it, and just want to argue, and then not even listen to why there is such a similar correlation between it and the Quran, and why it's not the way it should be, and the way that they see our Bible is just being cut up.
I am yesterday, today, and the brother of tomorrow. I am born again and again.
A lot of times I just say, hey, what's up, Simon? Inshallah.
Which is as like unto the dwellers in the watchtowers of the
Where's universe? We were supposed to have this shit down pat with,
I see by mine own inward light,
comprehensive
Lord of resurrection who cometh
understanding.
And my birth is from the house of death.
But
ye two divine hawks upon your pinnacles, who keep watch over the universe. Ye who
I can get into any chapter in Mr. Universe probably did.
ship of wrong, ever advancing onwards, the heights of heaven.
I know what happens is I'm just gonna cram all it. I'm gonna skip 40 minutes towards the end. I'm just gonna cram in a bunch of like just last second shit. See how good I do.
Mine is the radiance, wherein the spark floats over the foam.
Yeah, but I can't do it
I
right now.
travel upon high. I tread upon the firmament of youth. I raise a flashing flame of the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on in the splendor of the daily glorified God, giving my life to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountain,
Were you listening in before when the rabbi was in the room?
for I am God incarnate,
Oh man, he's
created
good.
in the flesh.
There's a good
I
one.
am the idol of my father to move.
It was, he accidentally said
The
it.
God who commands is in my mouth.
He said, he said something about, I said, no, the Torah is not just for the Jews, it's for the world. He says, yeah, it's for the world when the Messiah comes.
My
Thank you very
work
much.
is accomplished every day. And the
He
desire
said
of
that,
my
he said
heart
that so fluid, like he didn't even realize what he was
as of
saying.
the tower when he created his work. My word. Therefore do thou come forth unto me from thine abode in silence, unutterable wisdom, all light, all power.
He's our rabbi.
Hermes, Mercury, Odin, by whatever name I call thee,
If we could get
thou
slow
art
for
still nameless to
he's
eternity.
got some questions about the
Come
Bible.
thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of art. Thou,
Maybe.
that didst conduct the Magi, thou art the same all present in heaven and in hell. Thou that by greatest between light and the darkness, rising, changing ever and ever. The sun is thy father, thy mother the moon. The wind hath all made its
Got a
own,
biblical
and
reference.
earth and
There is
everything
no biblical reference to
is
that.
of thine.
I know, I
It's
don't
all
get it.
Italian. Yeah, I don't get it
And
either.
make all spirits subject to
Yeah,
thy
that's
spirit, so that every spirit of the godliness of the ether, on the earth and under the earth,
Why won't say
on
Rebecca?
dry land and in the water, of morning air and of rushing fire, and every spell of
Did you?
bird
Did you
and
get it?
of the vast world,
I don't know what
may
it sounds
be
about
obedient
Megatron.
unto thee.
Oh, we never bring that up in here. That time is not allowed in here, actually.
Yeah. That is one of his standing rules. Now, if it's a different room and something gets brought up,
You know what it is? He's so used to probably not talking about it in here that he probably didn't notice that we don't bring that's one of the rules.
that is like a standing rule. Islamic rule. So,
It's like yeah, we don't
no,
bring it up. Listen,
it's kind of like being a dead horse.
it's not in there. It's not in the Quran, right? That's probably why we don't bring it up. There is a reference of 2 wives, though. I'm not exactly sure what 2 wives are being mentioned, but there is, I think it's a story about 2 women or something like that. That's about it. Because the only woman mentioned is Mary, the mother of God. Is the only one that's mentioned, so. So, Joe, have you ever been to a mass? Have you ever sat through it? You know, I've never been to a mosque.
Been to a mosque.
Yeah.
Sat through a mass.
Have you ever sat through you know, been to like maybe a small chapel,
Invocation
any
of
kind of
church.
church?
Procol, procol esti profani, on lasting, on peda. In the name of the mighty and terrible one,
Yes, that is when someone gets confirmed, or the
I
first
invoke
communion.
Tahuti, the Lord of wisdom and of
Yeah. Also, if you sat in the first communion, you would,
from the veil.
yeah, you know what it's about.
O thou, majesty of the Godhead, wisdom crowned
A lot of
Tahuti,
standing,
Lord
sitting
of the
down,
age of the
kneeling,
universe, thee,
and then we stand up again.
O thou of the ibis head,
But yeah, we have these little pews that we
thee I
kneel
am.
on.
Thou who wieldest the wand of double power, thee,
But that's it.
thou who bearest in thy left hand the rose and cross of light and light, thee I invoke. Thou whose head is as an emerald, and thy nemes as the night sky blue, thee I invoke. Thou whose skin is of flame and oranges of
How is that?
dawn in the furnace,
What?
thee
What is
I
that?
invoke.
haven't been?
Behold,
No.
I am yesterday,
That's the
today,
for me,
and the
boss.
mother of tomorrow.
Oh.
I am born again and again.
Those people
Mine is
are.
the unseen force, whereof the gods are sprung.
I don't know. I just see that
As life
environment
unto
as
the dwellers in the
very,
watchtowers of the universe.
very high toxic environment.
I am the charioteer of the east, lord of the past and of the future. I see by
They're very
mine
picky.
only inward light, Lord of resurrection who cometh forth from the dust, and my birth is from the house of death. O ye two divine hawks upon your pinnacles, who keep watch over the universe.
Yeah, that might be that's a big experience for you. For me, I wouldn't be able to sit through it.
Ever advancing onwards,
Even trying to pretend.
Lord of the shrine, standing in the center of the earth. Behold, he is in me, and I in him. Mine is the radiance, wherein the top floats over the throne.
I think the
I travel
Quakers,
upon
I believe
high.
the Quakers do
I
that too.
tread upon the firmament of you. I
I try to spot out the points that are different. But I mean, I'm going to obvious places. But for the most part, it's almost the
My
same.
word is accomplished every day, and the desire of my heart
For example, like Isaiah 9,
up the tower when
6
he
and 7, it says the same exact thing. Except it changes one word, and then it makes the whole thing big and it's
my designs, therefore do all things
They say wonderful cops like Prince of Peace.
Therefore do thou come forth unto me from thine
And then I think they changed the father part.
unnatural wisdom, or light, or power. So,
You know, like key ones like that I know.
Odin,
I mean,
by
other than that,
whatever name I call thee, thou art still
they used to be very boisterous back in the 70s or 80s. I think we used to debate a lot. They kind of died out. I think that those people kind of died out.
that is conduct the Magi. Thou art the same.
There's a guy on here that is Mormon and has 3 wives. Top right out of Texas, all 3.
He probably joking around.
I don't know, he's not pretty serious about it.
The sun is thy father.
Andrew used to be, Andrew's father used to work for some shit
The
like
wind
that.
hath fallen in its bosom, and earth hath never nourished
Yeah, he says it.
Come thou forth, I say, come thou forth, and make all spirits subject unto thee.
I have sympathy for some of these people that
From the earth and under the earth, on dry
Yeah,
land,
I mean, that would deter me from loving Jesus and being a part of my faith if I had to be forced into something that was so opposite from truth. For sure. Yeah, but you're done with having a couple wives, right? Well, I think it's acceptable, is it not? I could be wrong, but like, I thought that they were allowed to. They have to follow certain rules and stuff, but as long as they take care of their wife, then they can.
Acceptable, Kitty. Where I live, it's very commonplace.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Nobody gives two hoots about if somebody's got 2 or 3 or 4 or the 5th or 6th also. The 5th and 6th, provided he's divorced one first, one or both.
I'm just saying, like, I know me, certain times of the month, I can be a little moody, whatever, I get on even Megatron centers. I couldn't imagine a dude having to put up with, like, 2 or 3 or 4 or 6 of them.
Well, you have to be ranked. They have to rank you.
God bless, man. Come on.
Yeah.
And if I could just be on, like, Disney Channel, and maybe watch the kids every other Wednesday, I'd be cool with that, I guess.
Islam approach. What's interesting about the Mormons, right, is that they're very community oriented. In the sense that, like, they're almost like the Jews, where they keep to themselves, but they invest the money back into themselves. And, whatever work you have, you can put a certain amount of your pay back into the church. And the more money you put, the higher rank you might have. And they actually, what's cool about them is that they do everything through like the business. And they can see like their house is somewhat like it's up there. So, once you get it in, you could possibly not have to pay taxes, so on and so forth. And then, fill it up, please. Thanks, sir. And then they start.
I'm moving to New York right now.
New Jersey.
And thy name is
Up in
the
there.
sky blue.
And full dirty. Just
Thou
now.
whose skin is of flesh
And,
and oranges of
So,
burned in a
once you're up in the upper echelons, you're involved in some of these businesses that they do.
Behold,
They're very,
I am yesterday,
make a lot of money.
today, and the brother of tomorrow.
They're
I
pretty good with
am
their money.
born again and again. Mine is the unseen force whereof the gods are sprung, which is as light unto the dwellers in the watchtowers of the universe. I am the charioteer of the east, lord of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, Lord of resurrection, who cometh forth from the dust, and my birth is from the house of death. O ye two divine hawks upon your pinnacles, who keep watch over the universe, ye who company the beard of the house of rest, who pilot the ship of wrong, ever advancing onwards the heights of heaven, Lord of the shrine which stands in the center of the earth. Behold, he is in me, and I in him. Mine is the radiance, wherein the fog floats over the throne. I travel upon high. I tread upon the firmament of you. I raise a flashing flame with the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on in the splendor of the day glorified, while giving my life to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountains, the celestial waters shall flow at my word. For I am Ra incarnate, Hepra, created in the flesh. I am the idol of my father Tanu, Lord of the city of the sun. The God who commands is in my mouth. The God of wisdom is in my heart. My tongue is the sanctuary of truth, and a guard is sitteth upon my lips. My word is accomplished every day, and the desire of my heart realizes itself as that
How
of
did
the
you take-
star when he created his
On-
world. I am eternal. Therefore, all things
Just
are
gonna ask
as my
Megatron why you
design.
took down the link.
Therefore, do all things obey my word.
It's only 27 seconds. I wanted to show it. Is that okay?
I was gonna put a different link up.
Can I just show it to him really quick?
Is it more common in the U.S.? Because the Mormons are not a big population.
Mercury,
Just watch that. It's only 27
by
seconds.
whatever name I call thee, thou art still nameless to eternity. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of ours. Thou, star of the east, that didst conduct the Magi, thou art the same all present in heaven and in hell.
I don't know.
Thou that by great
I see it being a caution thing. I think also with the female circumcision thing too. I think that's cultural,
changing
not
ever
African.
yet ever the same. The sun is thy
I know the guys in the
the wind hath
what you call it, in the Islam, I mean in Toronto,